Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about the over-the-top swing fix. And I mean, it is the ultimate swing fix. But before we get into that, if you could like the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification stuff. It's going to help the channel grow and it turns into a win-win for both of us. Okay, so let's talk about this over-the-top move for a second, right? Everybody that struggles with this over-the-top move, they're up here and they start coming down. And when they're coming down, people are like, oh, you've got that club on a good relationship with the forearm, ideally, right? But most people, when they come over the top, they're going this way. The club comes in steep. They never get that good relationship with the forearm. Where doing it the way that Mr. Hogan did, and he's coming down, there's never any over the top with this type of motion. So what we have to understand is why. Okay, now you need to really open your mind here for a second and understand. Everything in the golf swing is really opposing forces, counterbalancing other forces, okay? Then you have to understand why. You ask yourself why. What am I coming over the top of? What am I going under? Okay, so everybody's gonna say, well, it's the pane of glass. Well, let's get rid of the pane of glass for a minute and let's really start understanding this at a very logical explanation so that it will allow you to recalibrate and come up with a different understanding of the golf swing and why it's so important to not come over the top. All right, guys, I'm going to do this right hand only. I'm going to go to the top, okay? So now look at where this shaft is at in relationship to the back part of my shoulder here, my arm, the top of my arm and my shoulder. So the second I'm here and I tell myself, oh my gosh, I'm a player that comes over the top. What are you doing? You're going over the top of this back part of your shoulder. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm here. I went that way. I'm coming over the top of the back part of my shoulder. Okay, that's what over the top is, guys. So how do we ultimately change our understanding so that you just will not do this anymore? So now when you're at the top, you want to say, how do I keep this shaft underneath the backside of my shoulder? Look at this. It's so easy when you understand the correct task that your brain is trying to perform. You're like, okay, this is simple. Chris said, go to the top. Get there. Now, whatever I'm going to do from here, I'm going to keep the shaft, this part, underneath the back part of my shoulder. Bingo. Bam. Right into it every single time. And you will never come over the top again. Are you going to have to work on it? Sure. Especially if you're coming over the top. It cannot come over the top of the back of the shoulder. It has to go underneath the back of the shoulder. And it is once you understand what you're really doing, my gosh, it's like tying your shoes. How could you ever come from over the top again? If you know my goal or my intention is to stay under the back part of my shoulder when I'm starting the transition. Yep, all day long. Or if you're someone who comes over the top, you're taking the shaft over the top of the back part of your shoulder. And it's that simple. And everybody's going to be, well, if you suck this club inside, watch this. You want to see something funny? Everybody says that if you suck this club inside, the natural reaction is going to be for you to come over the top. Watch this. I'm going to suck this club inside and come under. I'm going to suck that club inside as hard as I can and still come under. I'm going to ridiculously suck it all the way in here and come under. Right? But everybody says in this motion, here causes this. Here causes this. You know why this causes this? Because there are no opposing forces in the lead side of the body when you do this. When you go this way and come up, you'll feel it. It is weak. It is no stabilization. But if you're doing things correctly, I can go, there is all kinds of stability here. And I have flipped that club so far inside that now, believe it or not, I have to do this would be uncomfortable. So I've got this. I'm not teaching this, guys, to go that far inside. I'm just using that as an example. But even from here, I'm just staying under this part of the back shoulder, the trail shoulder behind us. Now, again, guys, I'm not telling us to whip this club inside. I'm just making an example of what happens if your body stabilizes the forces, the opposing forces, the forces it's moving into. I don't care how you move this club. I do. Don't get me wrong. I really, really do. But you've got to start understanding, if you no longer ever in your life want to come over the top, and this is one of you that I'm talking to, if that person is you, start understanding it is the back part of your trail shoulder that you have to keep the shaft under during transition. Look at it. It went under. Now I'm going to go over. You could see it all day long. It's the back part of the shoulder blade. And then when you go over, wing, you hit this crazy shot. But golf does not have to be difficult, guys. You just have to start understanding, hey, what's the logical point? Is it the pane of glass? Nope, it surely is not. But when I work this club underneath the back part of my shoulder as I'm coming down, look what I did. I just stayed under the pane of glass. And when I do this, I'm at the top. Now I'm going to work under the back part of my shoulder. And look what happens to my body as a natural response. Look at that. Looks like I've got this massive Sam Snead squat, or Hogan cowboy look. Because right here in the transition, I went to the top correctly, so I'm there. So now we've rebalanced or recentered. Now I'm going to work underneath. And when I work underneath, look at that. My legs are squatted, my feet are in the ground, my body's providing the force, the resistance of the force of the club head traveling through space on different angles, which creates angular momentum or angular velocity of the club head. And all I'm doing is putting my body in a position by moving it underneath the back shoulder blade to where my body can be supportive of the force that's moving out and away from me, which is the golf club. That's it. It's just a golf club. It's not me taking my hands in all this stuff. So if you really want to stop, and I mean eradicate, coming over the top like an exterminator in your house killing a roach, okay, you would say, wow, if I come over the top of this back part of the shoulder, I'm going to go over the top. If I can keep the shaft underneath that back part of the shoulder during transition, it is going to change your game, and your body will start responding to the correct understanding of what causes over the top. And now that we know what causes it, we can fix it once and for all. All right, guys, hope this video helped. We'll see you in the next video.